OTT has made some stars come up and rise in from the clutter, from the television and other mediums. And some of them are here on this very panel as well. You've heard the names, Manvi Gagru. Yes, you've heard the name Pratik Gandhi, Mostly Sane also coming on OTT platform, Mithila Palkar, so many names like these that you are familiarized with because of the content on OTT. And here to talk about the same on this panel, we have with us, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming them, Apurva Asrani, a famous screenwriter and editor who's screenwritten for Shahid, Aligarh, and Criminal Justice, while edited Satya, Shahid, and Made in Heaven. We also have on the panel Somendra Padhi, film director Jamtara and Budhia Singh. And as I've mentioned, we have with us the lovely Manvi Gagru, actor for Four More Shots Please, Ujra Chaman, Shubh Mangal, Zyada Saudhan, TVF Tripling and Pictures, No One Killed Jessica. I'm sure you're familiar with all the work that she's done on different mediums. We also have with us, from the fame of Scam 1992, the Harshad Mehta story, Pratik Gandhi, who's also been part of Beyar and Wrong Side Raju. And chairing this session is Sukesh Nayak, Chief Creative Officer, Ogilvy, India. If you'd like to pose any questions, don't forget to tweet to us using the hashtag E4Mplay. We'd love to hear from all of you and create that online buzz. Thank you so much for all our panelists and our session chair for joining us this evening. A very warm welcome to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon first, and I hope everyone's well. It's really lovely to have you all together here. It's fantastic to see you all. And let's get on with this. And I think the first question, very obvious question, which is the, has OTT truly democratized this entire, the shows, the stories and the stardom? What do you all think? And let's ask you, Manvi, first, let's start with you. What do you think about that?
Most definitely, internet by definition is a democratic medium. That's for sure. But, and because, anybody who has access to the internet has the ability to put out content and become a content creator and find themselves an audience that they might not otherwise have access to. But having said that, I feel that because it's a democratic medium, it also suffers from the trappings of a democratic system, which are that merit is still a far cry from being your sole purpose for watching something or creating content, or in the sense that, like, for example, yes, it has the democratic part has come into the entry end. Like, when we talk about entry into the industry, then yes, it has opened up doors that weren't otherwise open to a lot of the people. That's for sure. But the system is still the same. The currency has changed. Like, instead of box office collections, it's now number of views or number of followers. But it's still not merit, unfortunately.
Fair. That's a very interesting point. I never looked at it that way, but very interesting point. Pratik, what about you? What do you think?
I guess, yes, it has democratized the way entertainment industry operates. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been with you discussing this thing. I wouldn't have been a part of this panel otherwise, because I guess one series and it changed my life. I had been in this industry. I was trying to, get my bit somewhere from last 16 years. And it was just last year when I got scammed, things changed for me. And people actually felt that this is my first project, but this is the project that I got after 16 years of work on stage and here and there in regional cinema. So yeah, I guess OTT changed a lot of things for actors like me.
That's wonderful. That's true. And again, I just want to tell Manvi, I've seen some of your stuff. I've been watching your stuff on TVF days. So I just want to say that, I think the stories that are being told, that's the beauty of truly democratic medium. When you really opened up the system altogether, I would have never, as a writer, as a creative person.
No, I don't want to take that away from OTT at all. I mean, for
Yeah.
sure, like for sure, OTT has given work to not just actors, to writers, to directors, to technicians that were extremely talented and had been working in the industry for long but hadn't got their due, or directors whose only option was to make a film, and they weren't getting to make a film, and they managed to make either a film for OTT or convert it into a series. So there's no doubt that has happened, but I'm just saying, in terms of sustainability.
You mean to say the measuring index of success has changed from the currency has changed from box office numbers to number of views, right? But I think that's a different.
I mean, I just don't know how sustainable this, because right now it's pretty novel. It's still, I mean, maybe now it's reaching a point of stability, but till about a year ago, it was still very nascent, like OTT as a concept. So obviously it was open to a lot of experimentation in terms of stories, in terms of format.
I personally want to say that, I personally, as a creator, I think that the kind of work, the stories, and the way they've been told, it's just remarkable. We were on the other panel sometime back, and just to discuss Scam. It was amazing that it was there in every category. I just saw it in cinematography, in editing. I was like, amazing. So it's just not. I think one is story, but I just saw the beauty of what Balki were talking about, and we just said that it's amazing that it's across categories. So that means probably the best technician, the people with the best craft have come together to create something so wonderful. Right. So that's one. Sorry, I just go back to others. Hi, Apurva. What do you think? You've been doing this from a young age, man. I mean, Satya, I was like, you started way back, right? So what do you think about that? Your journey is the most interesting. You started, I think you were out of college, right? When you did this.
No, I was not out of college. I was still in college.
Wow.
When credit goes to Ram Gopal Verma, actually, to pick somebody who's still studying. But I think I kind of agree with Prateek here. The very reason many of us are being celebrated today, is truly because of OTT. I've always pursued offbeat stories, or stories that maybe have a slightly darker element. We did Shahid, Aligarh, City Lights. I did this film, Waiting. Lots of lovely little films and stuff. But to be very honest with you, filmmakers like myself, or the directors like Hansal and Anu, who made these films, were always considered to be on the fringes. Yeah. It was almost like they were doing us some sort of a favor by letting us make films, and then saying, "Bhai, वैसे बनाते नहीं हैं, मतलब बना रहे हो तो बनाओ, but what's the point? Why do you even exist?" And we need to exist. Our stories need to exist. If it doesn't give you box office, our stories actually are important stories for people to discuss. It might be 10, 20 people. They'll talk to 10, 20 people, who'll talk to 20 people, and thus, the message does go across. But what has happened now, the kind of disappointment that I felt when I saw 12 people watching Shahid and 20 people watching Aligarh in the cinema. So when we did Criminal Justice for Hotstar, which I wrote, I was somewhere expecting a similar kind of a response to it, because it's a story that deals with marital abuse and rape, and it has that has dark elements in it. So every time I would get news from either Samir Nair from Applause or the head of Hotstar, and how well the show is doing and how people are talking about it, and then people reaching out to me, I would never believe that this kind of a story has reached so many people. And then I understand why a film like Aligarh, which was didn't have bums on seats in the audience, but so many people have watched it privately in their own homes. So there's something about watching it privately, taking out that whole community experience thing, that allows you to immerse into stories that you probably cannot watch comfortably with a whole bunch of people. If you want to cry, you'll cry, pause, you'll pause, come back to it. So yeah, I think it's been a fantastic leap.
Super. Thank you for that. I love the point of, allowing you to watch the way you want to watch in your own company, and some stories are probably to be shared, and some stories that we just watch with your friends, or or by yourself. That's brilliant. Soumendra, what do you think? I mean, fantastic stuff on Jamtara, by the way. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Brilliant story again.
I think it has truly democratized. I think 5 years down the lane, we wouldn't have actually dreamt of that stuff. Because after making Budhya Singh, like, the problem with the industry is if somebody wants to, everybody wants to meet a famous people. If you say, I got a good actor, that good actor has to be famous. That is the problem. So after Budhya Singh, we had so many good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Carry on.
Yeah,
We can hear you. Of course. Carry on.
So after Budhya Singh, we had so many stories, but we couldn't find those right platforms. I'm so thankful to Netflix and Viacom for giving, because Jamtara had all these new actors from NSD, FTI, and those actors that we really wanted to work with, all newcomers, and they backed us. I think OTT gives us that thing to choose, and they gave me all the freedom. We had this limited budget. I think we agree with Manvi on that, the budget thing, the currency about, because a big star still ensures that amount of money that you get paid. I'm sure the same challenge would be with scam also, but I think we have to prove so many multiple of so many times, so that people trust us. That gives us more wings for Jamtara season 2. Now we have got bigger budget. Yeah, we have got bigger budgets. We want to, so that kind of stuff. I think we have to prove enough times. But I think stardom, that second thing, that was creativity and stardom. I think stardom is a different beast. I don't think it's still mostly restricted to the cinema theaters, because that stardom always interferes with your storytelling. It is always going to interfere with the character that you want to portray. So I think we should separate the creativity and the stardom, because they are in complete contradiction to each other. I think the characters has to suit the personality of the star, and so it is always going to interfere with the stories. But I think we are in such a good space right now. I think the kind of stories that is being pitched right now, and the kind of subjects that are being discussed, and characters that are being discussed, and I think this is a great time spent in cinema.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I think the next question I have for you guys is, and right now only we talked about some really interesting stories being told, very, very different stories, not the regular stories. Let's talk about the audience. What do you guys think about the Indian audience? Do you all feel that meter has shifted? Because I personally, if you ask me, whatever budget could be, the smallest budget, the biggest budget. Nobody put money into making anything if people are watching it. So fundamentally, I believe that people have started, waiting for and wanting to see stories that are different and that tell stuff. So what do you guys think about that? All of you are actors and writers and directors. Do you feel Indian audience have started looking forward to interesting storylines which have some depth and some heft, and they actually make you think and probably feel something and not just go surface level like a rocket from the top? What do you think about that? Someone take it. Anyone who wants to go for it?
No, definitely.
You want to start, Man? Yeah, go for it.
Definitely, like audience, because they're also, it's a very organic growth, right? Like, because they've been, if you've been feeding them the same kind of content, they will at one point get saturated and want something different, something new. I also feel that what OTT has done is that it's, the reach is much larger, right? So you will find your audience. You will and it doesn't matter what the concept of your show is. It, like you said, that there's a whole gamut of different kinds of shows. There are action violent shows, there are fluffy, like feel good shows, there are music based shows, there are real life event based shows. I mean, so there's a whole array of that. I feel also what has happened is, like, I personally, for example, because I'm spoiled for choice when I'm watching something, when I'm an audience member, I'm so spoiled for choice. My tolerance for bad quality content has gone down terribly. Like, I can't, if I'm watching something and it does not engage me in the first 15 minutes, I just switch it off and turn on to something else. And I'm sure it's happening across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to add something to what Manvi is saying. I mean, it happens a lot with me as well. It's like all those books that you buy and you promise yourself that you're going to read, and it just lies on your bookshelf. But I've also noticed something, Manvi, which is very interesting, is that shows that I rejected. See, rejected is the wrong word. I got bored of. Say maybe 2 years ago. But I'm in a different place in my life right now. And the beauty of this whole OTT space, which we really need to talk about, is that the shelf life of all these things is for posterity.
Yeah, it's posterity.
So that book is there on that shelf when you feel, I'm feeling like this right now, and let me go back and उस समय डार्क समझ में नहीं आई थी मुझे, बहुत कॉम्प्लिकेटेड थी. But currently the whole world is so complicated that now I'm thinking very
Let's go there.
differently.
Yeah.
So you go back to that show,
Yeah.
So when we were tracking the numbers, which I'm guilty of doing on this show, so somebody told me, said, you don't need to do this here because you cannot quantify the success of your show by Friday box office or weekend box office numbers. The life is actually very, very, very long of the show. So you watch something, you like it, you sample it. In a movie you're saying 15 minute mein bahut slow hai yaar, bahut boring hai yaar, you don't want to do it. But here you can actually pause it, go get yourself that drink or that thing, come back and watch it.
Or
And
even
get
like
through it.
2 years later, you can come back to it,
Yeah.
thinking, hey, you know what? Let me try that again. Yeah.
True, yeah.
No, that's true because I tell you what, I saw 4G after ages. Can you imagine? I mean I brought it back from God knows where because I ran out of things to see, and suddenly I went back saying I want to watch it again. I ended up seeing 3-4 episode back to back.
Yeah.
I mean I think it's also given self life to things that probably wouldn't have come back. Also, they're all. It's a great library of stuff, and you can just keep choosing from wherever you want to. But I think the as an audience, because you see whatever was made earlier, I don't think it was because of somebody wanted to make it, because it was people wanted to see that kind of stuff. So let's also like give them, nobody wanted to make anything just because I want to make it and there's nobody to watch it. So if today things are being
I
made,
beg to disagree. Please meet Mr.
Yeah.
Ram Gopal Verma. Ram Gopal Verma, among other filmmakers, has always made what he's wanted to make. Right from
That's
when he's doing
amazing.
Satya, he's doing Shiva, to where he's doing Ram Gopal Verma Ki Aag. There are, I mean, a lot of us actually want to tell stories and pursue stories that we don't even know whether people are. And I feel OTT, still people are willing to take a little bit more chance because in terms of your
That's the
budget.
best. I think the risk factor.
Yeah,
The risk
like
factor
you
is
said
high.
earlier, because you feel like you're sitting at home, you don't feel like it's being forced down your throat, right?
Yeah.
You're watching
Correct.
at your own will. So and you
Correct.
feel you have that liberty to turn it off if you don't like it. You're not paying specially for it. I mean, you're paying for the platform in itself, but you're not buying a ticket and going there and paying $500 for popcorn and all of that, where you feel like the movie owes you something.
Yeah.
Better, pay you the
Yeah.
money back. Yeah. Sorry, Prateek, you were saying something.
Pratik?
Yeah,
Yeah, what for you,
so
Pratik?
I was saying that there was an audience for everything earlier also. It is just that it was difficult for people to reach out to those people.
Correct.
That's
It's like,
wonderful.
and whether audience wanted to see something different and makers wanted to make something different, it's an egg and chicken situation. कि वो देखते नहीं है तो हम बनाएं क्यों, वो बनाते नहीं है तो हम देखें
Correct.
कैसे.
Correct.
बिल्कुल
और
सही.
इसका कोई इलाज ही नहीं था. And I'm coming from regional cinema. I know that pain. That regional cinema, in which ways, we had very limited resource. On top of it, the revenue generation possibilities were very, very limited. We hardly used to get theaters. And the moment any big film comes, you are out of the theater, even if the film is running. And apart from this, there were no satellite rights. There were no satellite possibilities. Specifically for Gujarati cinema that I'm talking about right now, it's hardly 7-8 years young cinema industry, and they're still struggling. With OTT platform, what happened is that people have started experimenting to another level. Like, I want to tell stories which might not be understood by the large audience.
Yeah.
And the kind of theater that also I did, we always had a very limited audience. Like, I guess around 100 people in Calcutta, 100 people in Delhi, 500 people in Gujarat, and that's the audience that we used to have earlier.
Wow,
now,
that's wonderful.
Because we were, and that was it. So I guess abhi change ye hai ke there is an audience and things are reaching to them.
Correct.
So the reach has become easier.
So it's
I think
overall a
if I
win-win
say,
very easy
it's
now.
fantastic. Fantastic. I can choose what I want to watch, and I don't have to worry whether I have to go to get a theater release. I have to find the distributors and the falana dikra, all that stuff. Yeah, great. What do you think, Sovendra? What do you think about that? What's your point of
I
view?
think the OTT has come as a huge explosion, and we were not ready for this, to be honest, because people have a lot of work, and people don't have work. They don't have any work kind of work. We don't have if you see, Apurva sir will agree with me. Now would be like with so many projects, he doesn't have time to take up those projects. that we don't have the system of writers, we don't have the system of that. So we need to build those infrastructures, I think, for this explosion to get more inroads into the rural areas. That is where the 70% of the new stories are going to come. क्योंकि शहरों की story तो खत्म हो गई है, बॉम्बे दिल्ली की story खत्म हो गई है. Now we need to go to the villages, and we don't have those resources. I think neither the infrastructure is supporting us right now. Like we are looking for a Netflix series for writers, and we are unable to get a writer. Can you imagine? There was never a time like that. Writers were looking for work. Now writers, we have such amount of writers, only a dozen of writers, and we want to go to the same writers.
Yeah,
I think we need to build those.
It's wonderful to hear that creative people are like truly being sought after, and there's like a demand for it. That's the best thing that I can hear. Honestly, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's really nice. I mean, it's the best thing, and I truly hope that every gets the demand. I genuinely believe that if the art form has to become better, then the people who make it better have to be truly sought after, and that's the point of view I have. One interesting question that I was thinking about is, what do you guys feel about, when the OTT started, when Netflix came in, and all the international shows? Okay, I think they were the first entry of all these big international shows coming into the country. How much of that you guys feel is the impact, or how much has that helped in people kind of opening up to wanting to see other kind of stories, and being open to, because the initial few years, if you remember, all there was all the foreign shows, or
Breaking Bad and all that stuff, right?
So there were people addicted to it because they found the freedom to, like Purva, you said, there were people telling stories that they wanted to, and they didn't care whether, I don't think anyone ever thought that people watch it in India one day. They never thought of it when they made it. And how much do you think that really helped, or did that play any role in the kind of the belief that we see people investing in stories in India, and the kind of stuff they're trying now, experimenting, or whatever word they want to use, being braver than before, or trying to be more courageous than before. So do you think that has played any role in helping the producers or the show creators to be bolder when it comes to OTT than other stuff?
So as somebody who has pitched some shows and scripts to various OTT platforms, I can tell you that it helps, because I've seen so many times that when you take a script, and if in a script there's a certain joke or a certain situation, and you try to convince, and the person is not convinced, you're trying to sell it to them, and they're like, nahi, aise nahi hota. If you just tell them that ye friends mein hua hai, they'll be like, oh, acha, okay. Friends is like, so you add friends and they'll buy it, so even if it's not true. So clearly with the people that you're selling it to, if you have a reference point, it seems to help, although I'm not a big fan of that, because then you're leaving very little room for completely original ideas. But then it also, I mean, not to say that every person you're pitching it to is like that. Some people are actually very open. It also depends on what tactic you're using to convince, and how do you explain it, and all of those things. But yeah, it helps to have a reference point. If you tell them that oh, I'm looking at making for example, I'm looking at making a fantasy show, something like LOTR or Game of Thrones or something, and then so they'll it's just for the sake of reference and better understanding. I would like to believe that not everybody wants to copy paste formats and copy paste.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I think I mean, sorry, it's my question. So what do you think, Pratik? What do you feel about that?
I think it is all about cross-industry benchmarking, and that's how these foreign shows helped us a lot. Because earlier we used to hear it a lot of time that ऐसे shows वहाँ बनते हैं, वहाँ की audience को चलते हैं, यहाँ नहीं चलेंगे. Our audience is different. Our audience need more drama, more comedy, and this kind of stuff, right? But when these shows were released here in India, people started talking about it. They started talking about it on social media. There were references. They started making memes, and it was all over. So then it is easier for makers also to decide that yes, here also the audience is ready. They are consuming. They are understanding. They are following. Everything is happening here. So our audience is also ready. So I guess it was needed long back.
Super.
But this cross-industry benchmark helped.
Soumitra, did it help you when you pitched Jamtara to Netflix? How much did it help you? Because it was a very uniquely a story of con, and all of us have read it. Probably some of us have gone through it, experienced it. So did it help you when you were pitching it to Netflix?
They said we had this X amount of money. Do whatever you want to do. So that was the creative freedom. So I was ready to.
Magic words. Those are the magic
They said do whatever you
You're
want to do.
lucky.
But I've got
You're
only
very
this amount
lucky.
of money. Yeah, this amount of money. So money was a constraint,
That's
but
lucky.
since we had so much of creative freedom to do that, do whatever we want to do. So we went all out, But looking back, I think we cannot again do a season one with that kind of budget and that kind of resources. But I think coming of Netflix on these big platforms has empowered the writers, which we can see that effect
Super.
in season two. They have got a research team. He has got an additional 2 writers with him, and
Yeah, that matters.
yes,
That truly matters. Yeah.
So we have
Because
seen
you don't
how,
have it. I mean, you just write nonsense otherwise. Yeah.
yeah, because the writer cannot sit in Bombay and read a few Wikipedia and write about Jharkhand. He has to go there and visit these places. And for that he needs to be paid. So that has happened in season 2, which I'm very happy about, and with all platform I'm sure, because they give you that money for research. You are getting those journalists from Hindu, Indian Express, Times of India who are with you on this research. You won't go wrong with that.
Super.
So that is, I think.
Sorry, we have only one last. Apu, you want to take this one? What do you think about this? Anything?
Just
Since you
to
come from the
answer your
Ram Gopal
question-
school, which you
Yeah, the Ram Gopal Verma school. I think what your question about us being affected by a lot of this foreign content and stuff there. I mean, we are affected, but I think the reverse has kind of happened. The shows that are really doing well are the shows that are completely original. So
That's true.
you see a story like a scam, it's a very indigenous story. You see Jamtara, which is one of my favorite shows. And I think Jamtara is as
Original.
earthed and original as it gets. Pata Lok, which I love, and stuff like that. Even where Sacred Games comes from, So I feel like what the international formats and what these international shows have shown us is that mine from your own life, from your own stories, from your own world.
Correct.
We were creating a lot of derivative content, and that was selling en masse, because we had references to say this is working here and this is working here. But I think original content, telling own stories, culturally specific, I think that's what's happening a lot more now.
Superb. And we run out of time. So personally, thank you all. And I look forward to collaborate with each one of you in the near future, because big fan of all of you, what you've done. I've seen your work. And thank you for your time. And thank you, E4M, for bringing us together on this afternoon. Something to look forward to for all of us and just enjoy for a moment. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.